the corner we are going to turn right, and as we do so we will go under a freeway. When this happens, I will ask you to take a look to the left and the right, especially to the left, and there you will find an area that has been preserved to remember those who disappeared during our last dictatorial government. When the excavation to build the freeway that we have over here were done, it was found out that there, to the left, was one of the illegal detention centers, and they found one of the common burials. When this happened, it was decided to leave the area as it was and leave it as a remembrance area for those who were victims of the state terrorism in our country. You see it now or a little bit later as we move forward, a board with black and white pictures that show the faces of those whose bodies could be identified there, and the white signs that you see there have the names of these people. This is for us still an open wound in our history, right? For several reasons. One of them is that in history terms it was yesterday, only 40 years ago. Then it is also the thing of the disappearance of the bodies, right? For a larger most of the cultures, when somebody dies, burying that person gives a closure to the families, but yet right over here we have a large amount of families that couldn't even have that. So this is still an active thing in our society and determines a lot of things that are going on in the country. But we're going back to the immigration, guys. If you remember, I mentioned that here we have a Russian community. It wasn't a large amount of Russians that we had over here, but the Russian community was big enough so as to justify building here in Buenos Aires the first Russian Orthodox Church of South America. If you take a look to the right in just a moment, you will be able to see there the towers and the domes of this church, built in the year 1901 by a Norwegian architect called Alexander Christoffersen. The church has 5 towers. The main one represents Jesus, and the 4 smaller ones that surround it represent the 4 evangelists. Notice also that the crosses are not facing front as most of the churches do, but they are facing to a side. They are facing to the east, where the main church is located. All the Russian Orthodox churches in the world have their crosses facing towards the main church, and this one, of course, will not be the exception.
Were there native peoples in Argentina
when the Spaniards arrived? Yes, we did have a native community here. We didn't have big civilizations as it could have been the Incas, the Mayans, or the Aztecs in other parts of Latin America. What we had over here were mostly semi-nomadic groups, and depending on where we are in Argentina, they had different names. Here in Buenos Aires, for example, were the Querandíes. If you go south, you have Mapuches, Yamanas, Onas, etc. Nowadays, less than 3% of the Argentinian population is native descendant. But yes, we had not that many, but we did have. If you take a look to the left, now you will find there a mural welcoming us to this neighborhood of La Boca, which is beyond any doubt, guys, the most colorful neighborhood that we have in Buenos Aires. And what shows over there are the typical buildings that we will be able to see in this part of town. The neighborhood of La Boca has its name because pretty close to where we are now is the area where the Riachuelo River, southern border of Buenos Aires, flows into the De La Plata River, which is the eastern border of the city. The area where this happens, it's known as the mouth, or in Spanish, La Boca, of the Riachuelo. This mouth, this boca, was the access to the port of Buenos Aires that was originally located in this area. Now let's keep in mind that Buenos Aires was settled as a port city, so the area that provided the access to its port was important enough so as to give the name to the entire neighborhood. This is an exception. Other than this, most of the old neighborhoods in Buenos Aires have their name because of something related in one way or another to the Catholic religion, the name of a virgin, a saint, a religious order, or whatever. But in this case, it has absolutely nothing to do with it. If you take a look to the right, guys, in just a moment you will find a yellow painted building, which is a replica of the place where used to live the Admiral William Brown. William Brown was an Irish sailor. He was the one that created our Navy and also helped us throughout our independence process, right? Today in this building was an institute where I've done historical researches regarding Brown and our Navy, and there is a small library with themes related to the Navy. But if I have to be completely honest with you guys, I have to tell you that when we are in the neighborhood of La Boca, the first thing that comes to our mind is not Brown, it's not the Navy, it's not our independence. With all due respect to these fine men, we couldn't care less about those subjects, at least here in this neighborhood. When we are in the neighborhood of La Boca, the very, very first thing that comes to our mind is football, or soccer as it's called in other parts, right? Keep in mind that football for us guys, it's a big thing. It's not just a weekend amusement, right? It's something serious, dead serious I would say. And it happens that here in this neighborhood is the stadium of one of the most popular football teams of Argentina, which is BOCA Juniors. The stadium we can see to the left and ahead now, but since we are turning left, you will see in a moment to the right. There was a game yesterday evening right over here, and that's why we see that the area is so dirty. Well, hopefully tomorrow it's going to be better, or maybe later today. So to the right and ahead we have the stadium, but before I tell you more about the stadium, I will ask you to take a look to your left. And there you will find a colorful mural that shows one of Boca Juniors' biggest idols, that is Carlos Tevez. Carlos Tevez played for this team. He also played for our national team, played in teams in Brazil, England, and now he's playing in China. He's not doing very well there in China, so apparently next year he's coming back. That's at least what the guys from Boca are hoping for. But doesn't matter where he's playing, Carlos Tevez is a big idol for this team. Now going back to the stadium, it is popularly known as Bombonera. We call it like this because somebody once said that if we have an aerial view of the stadium, we will see that its shape is similar to the one of a chocolate box. And chocolate box in Spanish is bombonera. I mean, don't kill the messenger, I'm not the one that came out with this ridiculous idea. In my opinion, in order to see the shape of a chocolate box there, the important thing is not the air view, but essentially having a huge imagination and an even bigger craving for chocolates, guys. But what can I tell you? Somebody thought this, the rest of us accepted it, and there we go. Bombonera it is. As you can see, the stadium is painted in blue and yellow, which are the colors that identify the team. Blue and yellow, or blue and gold, as a supporter will say. Don't tell them that it's yellow because they get mad at it, right? Anyway, gold or yellow, the colors were inspired on the Swedish flag. But let's remember it's a yellow cross on a blue background. Not that Sweden has much to do with this part of the world, honestly, right? But the thing is that when the team was founded, people couldn't make up their mind regarding which colors they should give it, and they decided to go to the port that at that time was nearby, and they said they will give the team the colors of the flag of the first ship that arrived to the port. The first ship to arrive was a Swedish one. There you go, blue and yellow became the colors of the team. End of the story. And guys, for this team, they also an important part of his sports career here in Argentina, at least, Diego Maradona, that was considered during his time one of the best football players in the world, right? Here to the right, guys, you will be able to find different murals. Each one of them shows a moment of importance, either in the history of the team or the history of the neighborhood where it is located. And in one of these murals, you will be able to see the Swedish ship with the Swedish flag right over there. That inspired the colors of it. So that is the proof that I wasn't making up the story, right?